Well, the federal government now has just put homeschooled children directly in their crosshairs. Shane Vanderhart for Caffeinated Thoughts reports that the U.S. Secretary of Education, John B. King, said that he has concerns about children who are homeschooled, according to a story that was published in Politico Pro. Now, my wife actually brought this to my attention. They state here that Education Secretary John B. King Jr. said today he's concerned that homeschooled students aren't getting the range of options that are good for all kids. Oh, like bullying, sex, drugs in school, overcrowding. I mean, what else? I mean, that's what you get when you go to public school, right? Force transgenders into your bathroom for your sons and daughters. Yeah, that's what the public school system's all about these days. President Obama forcing all the transgenders into the bathrooms. Oh man. Anyway, I should point out that homeschooling has been growing in popularity in recent years and now accounts for about 3.4% of the school-age population. That's more than double the percentage. That was 1.7% of homeschooling families back in 1999. And of course, why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't we see an increase? I mean, you got school shootings happening all the time. I mean, drug use. The list goes on and on and on. All right? I mean, what better education can you give than your own training your child in the way that they should go, right? It says, while Secretary King said that homeschool kids were doing remarkably well and parents were free to make that choice for their families, he made this controversial statement, okay? And this is always what I hear about homeschooled kids, all right? That students who are homeschooled are not getting the kind of rapid instructional experience they would get in school unless parents are very intentional about it. What is that supposed to mean? They state here that King said that school experience includes building relationships. Okay, I joke because it's like what I just told you. What is a school experience? King said that the school experience includes building relationships with peers, teachers, and mentors, elements which are difficult to achieve in homeschooling unless parents focus on it. Okay, so let's be very clear. Building relationships with peers. There are ways to do that in homeschooling without having to subject your children to the wretched public school system. There are ways to do that. And that is by getting involved in a co-op. Okay, you can. There's plenty of co-ops all around the country. There are homeschool associations you can get plugged into. There are all kinds of ways that you can build relationships with peers. And even if you have a close family, children who are close in age, those are peers as well. All right, teachers and mentors. Well, in a homeschooling family, your teacher is your mother or your father, and they're your mentor. So how can they state that it's difficult, these are difficult things in a homeschooling family? It's absolute lies coming from the federal government. Because all they want to do is they want to have more control. They want to have more control. And this is, okay, I'm going to continue the article here. They say Shane, the author of the article, concluded this, quote, considering his remarks center around a socialization argument leads me to believe that he knows very little about homeschooling. He says, in my opinion, his remarks demonstrate frustration over an educational option that is outside of federal control. Then he states, considering the mess he made up in New York, I don't think he's even qualified to comment on homeschooling. So when you have a secretary like this come out and make these statements, they're putting the homeschooling families in their crosshairs. Because homeschooling families do not have to abide by any of the public school system's rigidities, vaccination laws, vaccination mandates, none of that stuff. And of course, this is one way that they could try to continue to force their globalist agenda on your children by saying, well, they're lacking on these different things here, and parents just can't give those things, and guess we're going to mandate that those things be included, and now your kids can't be homeschooled, and now you got to stick them into a public school system so they can be indoctrinated to be good global citizens. Oh yeah, and they can pick their own sex too. Unbelievable. What are your thoughts? Comment below, subscribe for updates if you like what we're doing. Give us a thumbs up and share this report with a homeschooling family, would you please? For the Next News Network, I'm Gary Franchi.
The Next News Network is sponsored in part by GetTheTea.com, a powerful detox tea to support your health.